Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. This live stream should be a fun one. I received yesterday a massive stack of boxes. If you were on my Instagram feed earlier, you probably saw the multiple boxes that my wife had brought in for me and sent me a photo of. So we're actually going to show you just a part of what was in there, because there was so much stuff that I haven't even been able to rebag and board a lot of what I picked up, but I want to show you guys at least a couple of the books that I picked up. I'm also going to show you some books that just arrived from EGS. If you guys remember, I talked about EGS maybe a month ago. It's a new third-party grading service that is run by a guy by the name of Tony Trombetta, who is actually a member of this comic book community and may actually be in the live chat now. I sent some books off to him. He did his thing and sent the books back, and so I want to show you guys those books and also talk a little bit about my experience with EGS, because I think that it may help some of you guys kind of decide what it is that you might want to do with your own collections. So let me say hello to a couple of people here in the room, and then we will jump into the show. So we've got Chris in the house. Javier is here. Hulk Nuts is in the house. He said I must be pumping up because I was a little bit slow jumping on here. Snizzle Pop is in the house. Hoodie, I think it's Hoodie, is first time viewer in the live stream. Welcome, brother. Comic Book Gallery is in the house. Zachary is here, and Darwin was the very first person in the room. Perry Comics is in the house. Mighty Comics Guy JM is here, and so is Captain Crutch. It is good to see you guys. Thank you for spending a little bit of your day hanging out with me. This was kind of like an impromptu thing. My family is actually in town, and I left work a little early to surprise my parents at the airport. So I picked them up and brought them home. We just finished having a little sushi, and now I'm going to, again, show you guys a couple of books. So let me show you a couple of the books first. And yeah, let's just do the books. So one of the first books that I picked up was this one right here. This was Amazing Spider-Man 365. This is the first appearance. What is it? Spider-Man 299 or something like that. I looked at my short boxes and realized I did not have this book, so I had an opportunity to pick it up as part of a large purchase, and so I went ahead and did it. So if you guys remember, I actually recently was talking about how I've been trying to trade books, and so much of what you'll be seeing here was a part of a cash slash trade kind of deal that worked out really nicely for both myself and the person that I bought them from. So next up, I have Batman Vengeance of Bane. This is the first appearance of Bane, if memory serves. Pretty nice book. I've already put it in a Mylar here, and it looks awesome. So super pumped about that one. You guys know I'm not the biggest DC fan, but there are some books that are DC books, in my opinion, that kind of sort of transcend the whole Marvel versus DC thing. Certainly the Kirby books that I showed you guys recently definitely qualify, and the first appearance of Bane qualifies as well. I actually watched that Batman movie, got a kick out of it, and so when I had an opportunity to grab that book, I definitely wanted to go ahead and do that. And yes, I am doing more DC, right? If you guys notice, I never was against DC. I just said that it wasn't my thing. But every once in a while, you see some DC stuff that just transcends, right? Just transcends, like Todd McFarlane. So this is one of the Todd McFarlane covers. Shout out to RB3, who actually picked this book up from one of my guys locally. He had it slabbed, he had it signed by Todd McFarlane. Ray grabbed the book before I could even see it, but when I had a chance to get my own copy, I definitely jumped on it. This one is raw, this one is unsigned, but it is a really, really cool book and looks amazing in this Mylar. So definitely pumped to have that one in the collection. And while we're on the DC kick, I'll show you a couple more. So you guys know Jim Lee, in my opinion, transcends DC, just like Kirby, just like Todd McFarlane. And so what I was able to pick up, try to get these things in order, is a couple, I think these are early early Jim Lee on Batman. So this is Batman 608, some early Jim Lee stuff right here. We've got 609, really cool cover right there. And this is probably maybe my favorite of the ones that I picked up, 611. So definitely a cool one right there. And there are many artists, to the comment that's being made there are many artists that actually transcend whatever company they happen to be working for. I was a Jim Lee fan since his X-Men days. I was still a fan when he was at Image, and I continue to be a fan now that he's over at DC. So, oh, here's another. This is 611. Again, another great, I think, Jim Lee cover. Yep, Jim Lee cover. So these are really cool. Definitely pumped to have these in the collection. So in addition to the DC books that I picked up, and I've got one more that I'm holding off until the end, I also picked up this one right here. This one is huge. Harbinger, #1. Definitely pleased to have this one in this collection. I was a big Valiant fan back in the day, so I have a lot of the Shadowhawk and the Hard Corpse and stuff like that. Like I have a short box right here at my ankle that is actually full of Valiant stuff. Did not get a chance to pick this up back in the day, but definitely pumped to have this. So just about every book that I am showing you guys here is a book that is absolutely 100% complete and is in pristine condition. Every single book that I show you guys from this run are just in amazing shape. These are, in my opinion, are 9-4 candidates across the board. Every single one of them, without a doubt, is going to be a high-end book. And RB3, yes, brother, your book was signed. I know you beat me to the punch. So here's another big Valiant book, Eternal Warrior #4, and I think this is the first appearance of Ninjak. So this one is another really cool book that I missed picking up back in the day, but again, had an opportunity to pick up as part of this cash trade that I've put together, and definitely pleased to have this one in the collection as well. So definitely a couple of really cool books there. So I'm gonna, first Bloodshot, there you go. Thank you, Candygram Man. I knew it was either Bloodshot or there was another one, Ninjak. Ninjak was in one of those, I think. So speaking of first appearances, you know, we are on a theme here, so we might as well stick with it a little bit longer in terms of like iconic books, first appearances of certain characters. So I decided to dust this one off. Here we go. We've got the first appearance of Harley Quinn. There we go. Bloodshot 6 is the first Ninjak. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. I definitely appreciate that. You guys know some of the trivia much better than I. And again, as I mentioned earlier, every single one of these books is in amazing shape. And so what I'm going to be doing is bundling these books up and getting them off to get graded. And I'll explain why in just a couple of moments. Well, let's do it now. So one of the things that I've been working on kind of sort of since last year, and this has like been a little secret project, is I have been trying to stockpile keys. And I've been trying to get them at a good price so that I can stockpile them for the purpose of eventually trading these books for a major grail. And so whenever I have an opportunity to pick up really good books, I try to do so. So like I have a second set of FF 48 through 50. I have that run. I have an extra Hulk 181. So there's books like that that I've been trying to get and hold on to for the purpose of doing something bigger with them a little bit later. And so the real motivation behind this big trade that I did was twofold. One, I filled some major gaps in my Spider-Man run. Like the 300s and 400s, I had major gaps there, so I was able to fill major parts of that. So I'm not going to show you those books, but that was part one. The other part was being able to secure some great keys that I could eventually do something with later on. And so to that point, this is a book that you guys are no stranger to, and I have one on the wall now, and I think 2 more in a box somewhere else. I have New Mutants 87. And so this is another book that's in really good shape. This one, I think, was stacked underneath some other books. So there's a little bit of a crease down here, but I think that is something that could easily be corrected with a nice clean impress. So we got that one. And so, you know, because I got one, I decided to just, you know, go big and get a second. And, you know, why stop with two when you can, you know, go ahead and grab another. So this was part of what I just picked up. I already have, I think I have 3 copies of this already. And so I was able to pick up 3 additional copies of the first appearance of Cable. So definitely pumped to have those in there. And because we're doing this kind of sort of in numerical order, that then takes us right over here to first appearance of Deadpool. And I should also remind you guys, if you've forgotten, I am giving away a copy of this book right here, a graded, I think it's a 9.4. First appearance of Deadpool, white pages, CGC. I'm giving that away. So if you sub to the channel and go to that video where I say New Mutants 98 giveaway and just say that you're in, as soon as I reach 2,100 subs, I will actually be giving away a copy. So because I'm giving away a copy, I had to make sure that I didn't deplete my inventory. So that's why I went ahead and picked up a couple of extra copies of this book here. New Mutants 98. Each one of these books is in amazing shape. I can tell you right now, each one is really, really in great shape. And I was able to put these things in some of these BCW archival bags to make sure that they are protected until they actually go off to get graded. So JM Comics is asking me a very difficult question here. He is asking if I picked up the biggest key of them all, and that being the X-Force #1. And I have to say that I actually stockpiled those back in the day, and I have a plethora of them. There is a door here, and I've actually papered the back of the door with all of my copies of X-Force #1 because we got them in spades over here. Heavy Hammer Jim, how you doing, brother? Unruly Simeon, it's good to see you. So Candy Grand Man is asking who my favorite DC character is, brother. So I don't really have a favorite DC character. I'm just being honest, right? I don't. I'm not the biggest DC fan. So I don't have that long history to say who my favorite character is. What I will say is I have a little affinity for Green Lantern, which is why I read that Green Lantern book recently, because I liked the movie. It wasn't the best movie, but I enjoyed the movie. I have an affinity for Batman, if you will, because of the early Batman movies back in the day when I was younger. I remember going to the drive-in theater to actually watch Batman, and I really enjoyed that, but I've never actually read a Batman comic, which is part of the reason why I picked these books up over here. And then I recently read some of Jack Kirby's work over at DC, specifically Forever People, when I picked up Forever People #1. I picked up also Miracle Man #1, and I recently read that, and I actually enjoyed that. The Miracle Man #1 was a little bit of a surprise because I knew nothing about the character, no clue what that character was about, but I actually enjoyed that book. So again, it's hard for me to have a favorite character when I don't know that I've exposed myself to enough DC characters to really say that this one is my favorite, right? So it's a long answer to basically say I don't know. And yeah, I'm definitely a Marvel guy. I think most people kind of know that I'm definitely a Marvel guy. You can look at the wall behind me to kind of see that I'm a huge Spider-Man fan and certainly a huge X-Men fan. So RB3 says he'll trade me the signed Batman for my Batman Adventures 13. No, that is not going to happen. That is a good try, my friend. C. Woodard in the house. Mr. Gretzky is also here. So again, I showed you guys 6 keys so far that were part of a recent acquisition that is all going towards hopefully a grail down the road. But of course, that wasn't the end. Those 6 weren't the end. They kind of sort of were just the start. So we have Amazing Spider-Man #300. And so this is a book that I absolutely love. It is such an iconic book. It is a very hot book with all the Venom stuff that's going on right now. And I think they just announced a Venom 2 movie, you know? So, you know, when you get one copy, you sort of have to get a second, and then when you get two, you're kind of like, maybe I should get a third. So we definitely went big on this pickup. So we were able to pick up 3 copies of Amazing Spider-Man 300. All of these, each and every one of these is in amazing shape. We picked up 3 of the New Mutants 98 and 3 of the 87, and then all the other stuff that I showed you guys. So I'll also do a recap at the end for those that have come in a little late. I'll run back through it so that you guys can actually be able to see all the books that I picked up. But this for me is all a step towards doing something bigger, hopefully in the year and later in the year. Because what you guys have noticed is that I have not, unlike many people, I have not released a want list video. I have not outlined any books that I'm buying this year, because, and I do actually have a cool video that's coming out next week. It is my my comic resolutions for 2019, right? So this week I did my tips for 2019. Next week I'm actually releasing my resolutions for 2019 as it relates to my comic collection. But that's still not going to be a want list of me saying these are the books that I want to get, because I'm trying to really focus on some things and try to go after some really big books, and not really big, that's not the right statement. I want to go after some books that are meaningful to my collection, because a lot of them aren't big books. A lot of them are honestly filler books for my Amazing Spider-Man run. And I'm talking, books in the 300s, 400s, 500s kind of stuff. So those are definitely not big books, but just trying to do some things a little bit differently than how I did them before. So Alex is making a guess here as to what it is that I might be trying to do, and you, friend, may be on to something. Comic book brother, no, none of those books that I actually showed you guys are actually for sale. Those books will actually be graded and will be used for a purpose a little bit later in the year. At least that is what I'm aiming for. So again, I'll do a cool recap for you guys very shortly, and we'll go back through those books for those that are joining a little bit later. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about in this live stream was my experience with EGS. So you guys remember, like a month ago or so, I introduced EGS. We announced the availability of this third-party grading service on my channel. I had been working behind the scenes with the owner of the company for maybe a month prior to that. I've gotten to know him. I've had lots of conversations with him where he would try things out on me and I would play them back through like my lens as a collector, but then I would also put myself in the shoes of the community and try to play back to him how certain things might land. But we had a wonderful working relationship, and that's why I was very thankful that he decided to allow me on my channel to announce the unveiling of his company EGS. And so a lot of people have gone and kicked the tires on EGS. They watched those videos that I put out there. They reached out to Tony. They had an exchange with Tony, and then some people decided to actually send their books in to Tony. And I too did the same thing. Even though I had, been working with him offline, I had not sent him books. And so I'm a big fan of, if I'm going to tell you about something, I'm going to do that thing as well, because I think that that's the right thing to do. So I went into my own collection and into my own pocket, and I sent books off to Tony. And I waited to see how he was going to handle things. And I have to tell you, I am actually impressed with how he handled things. And I want to explain why. He received my books, and I'm going to give you the short version. He received my books, and as he was attempting to inspect and grade the books, he realized that the condition of the book that he had in his hands didn't match the condition that I indicated on the paperwork that had been submitted. And he called me. He was very politically correct about it, but he was basically like, look, this is what I'm gonna give you Reggie's version. Dude, what you put on this paperwork isn't the book that I'm looking at here. That was the gist of it. You put this book was a 9.8 and this book is not a 9.8. And he tried to be very polite about it, but we were able to have a really wonderful conversation where Tony was able to say, look, I haven't graded this book, but here are the things that I see with this book that don't quite match what you said. And just having that conversation where he didn't tell me what the grade was or what the grade was going to be, nor did he try to allow me to influence it. But he basically said, look, what you are going to get back isn't potentially going to be what you expected. And that to me actually meant a lot, right? It meant that he was paying attention to the paperwork. It meant that he was paying attention to the book. It meant that he was grading the book based upon what he was seeing and not based upon what Reggie put on the paperwork or my previous relationship with him. And I remember I kind of ended the conversation with something along the lines of, the grade will be what the grade will be, and I'm not worried about it. You know, but through talking with him, what we talked about, there was one book that was a little bit more damaged than what I thought. And so we actually decided not to slab it. We actually decided to keep the book raw and let him grade it, but do it in its raw format. And that seemed to be, for me, a better way to approach it. And so that first book is this one right here. This is Amazing Spider-Man 798. I probably have like 14 copies of this particular book. So I was like not worried about it. The fact that it didn't quite show up the way that I needed. And I think you pointed out like some scuff marks and things like that on this particular book, some scratches that I didn't see. And I did not get these books pressed or anything like that. So that's probably why it actually received a 9. And it looks pretty good from the cover, but I think he mentioned that there was like some warping and some scuffing on the back. So that's why I decided to keep this one as a raw graded book. So this is one of those options that are available to people. You can actually go this route where you don't slab it, but you have a really cool thing on the back that keeps it sealed along with your certificate of authenticity, which highlights what your grade happens to be for the book. So that is one option that is available to folks. So the other thing, one of the other books that I sent in to Tony was a really cool sketch that had been done by, I think it's Heroes to Icons. Icons to Heroes. I always get it wrong. And apologies, Jason, for getting it wrong. But Jason is a really cool member of this community who reached out to me, sent me an AOK around Christmas, and it was a really cool sketch variant. And it was of Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is the 2014 Amazing Spider-Man. He did a really cool bust sketch on the front, and then on the back, it has the cool spider on the back side here. And thank you, Candygram Man, for busting me out. Candygram Man, I already saw the grade. So this one actually came out a little lower. And in talking with Tony, what we realized is that when the sketch was done on the front cover, the inks that were used on the cover actually bled through into the book. And so for me, this was never about this grade. And this is what I told Jason, who did the sketch. I never cared about the grade. And I also told Tony this. What I cared about was preserving what I thought was an amazing gift from a member of the community that took some time out of his life to actually do the sketch for me and then to actually send it to me. So this was really about preserving this great piece of art. And you guys know I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I've done a lot of videos on the black costume, so I definitely dig this sketch. So shout out Jason, shout out to Jason for putting this together for me. And it is from Heroes to Icon. So I got that right. Jason from Heroes to Icon, and he actually signed it here November 2018. Just a really, really cool sketch. So if you guys get a chance, check him out on Instagram. I'm sure he would welcome any likes that you guys can throw his way. All right, see what it says. He thinks the slab looked pretty nice. Yeah, the slab actually it is actually pretty solid. And Dre Van Doom, I would agree with you that there are some amazing members of this community, man. And Jason is one of many people that I have the pleasure of interacting with, you know. So I'm very thankful to him. I'm very thankful to all you guys for hanging out with me. So, but this is a really cool sketch. But essentially, this is the case that EGS actually uses, and one of the complaints that people have had about the case is that it's actually a hinged case. You can see the hinges at the top where you can actually remove these side panels and actually open it up. So what Tony has done to actually give people a little bit more peace of mind is he's actually done these security tabs on both sides of the book, the left and the right, and then he also has a security tab at the bottom. And so if someone were to try to remove the book, you should be able to see that this book has been tampered with, and you should be able to know what kind of happened with it. So again, cool slab, cool gift from two amazing guys. So the other two books that I sent in, I think both of these books are really cool. The next one is X-Men Red #1. I actually picked this book up from IG Comic Store. You know how they package books. Book showed up looking incredibly crispy, and so I ended up getting a 9.6 on this one, and so it actually turned out quite nicely. It's got the same security stickers that I talked about a moment ago, but just a really, really nice book. I think with this one, there might have been like a scuff or something like that on the back. I honestly haven't even looked at the grader's notes, but yeah, I think it was like scuffed on the back cover or something like that. And the last one that I received was Amazing Spider-Man 798. I was big in June of 2018. I was big on the Red Goblin stuff, so I bought a ton of these books. So Amazing Spider-Man 798. I think this is the variant. Yeah, this is the variant, and I actually got a 9.4 on this one. This is the Young Guns variant. Really cool cover there, and pretty solid book. So there you go. And so you can kind of see that these cases are relatively thin cases. I mean, look how thin that is, right? There's 3 of them stacked there, but definitely really cool cases, cool books, cool service, and you know, some solid customer service from Tony. I actually got rid of the boxes, but what he does is he actually sends the slabs in like these really cool white boxes. So they're like, it's a slab bubble wrap inside of a smaller box, placed into a bigger box, placed into a bigger box, placed into a bigger box. So a lot of security, and everything showed up at the house here the other day in A-OK. The shape, the box itself was a little beat up, but the comics inside were beautifully protected. So if you guys get a chance, check out EGS. Tell them Reggie sent you. So see who's all in here. Yep, Heavy Hammer Jim says it looks good. We got some feedback on the case, and again, I think that's perfectly fine. If these cases aren't your thing, perfectly fine. I think what everybody should remember is that where this all started for me was about this idea of competition, and how through competition, it forces everybody to do better, to try harder. It gives the consumer, i.e. us and you guys, options. And so that's why I talk about EGS, and even if you look at what I did recently for the new comic company that started, TKO Studios, right? They are doing things differently. They are trying to break the mold in terms of how books are distributed to the customer. And there's something else that I'm working on that may come out in a couple of months. I am a fan of competition. I am a fan of supporting members of this community that are trying to do things for the betterment of the community and trying to do things differently. So I support Tony. I put my money where my mouth was, because that's just what I try to do. And so I definitely agree that this is not everyone's thing, which is perfectly fine. I would never ever tell anybody that they should do something because I said it, right? My thing is to try to bring some awareness, to try to give people some things to think about, to give them options, to ultimately allow them to make more informed decisions. So, and again, I'm not trying to harp on anybody. I think everybody is entitled to their opinion. I just want to make sure that I kind of explain why I do some of the things that I do. So hopefully that was helpful. Yep, and he agrees 100%. There we go. Looks nice. Question, does EGS provide signature authentication? Yes, they do. And again, I would definitely say swing by his site, because I am not an expert in his services, but he does provide signature verification. And in fact, a couple of people have reached out to me that have actually sent him books to have the signatures verified. So I do know, in fact, that he does it. I don't know anything about how it's done. I don't even know what the costs are. So I would definitely say head over to his website and see what he's talking about, and I'll put the URL up there so that you guys can actually see what that is. But check him out, and I think he was actually trying to be in the chat today, but he may have gotten sidetracked with a couple of things. So Just kind of scroll through this. Jilly Jill's talking about she picked up a couple of Wonder Woman comics in a dollar bin, got home and realized they were signed by the artist. Wow, that's cool. That's cool. Were the signatures Jilly Jill on the cover or were they inside? Because I can't tell you how many collections I've picked up that I've gone and looked through the book and realized that the signature was inside the splash page and not on the cover. So I'm just curious. And Tony Trebetta just said that he is here in the room. Tony, there was a couple of questions here about signature verification, brother. So you may want to comment on some of that stuff to help folks out. Big question that all the ladies want to know, when's the next trivia night? I know. So there's a couple of things I'm a little, so Thanatos is getting on me because we haven't set a date for Comic War. I haven't done trivia night in a while. And there's a couple of other things that I haven't done that I'm not going to talk about because as soon as I do, somebody will be like, what about that? So I know. I will do it sooner or later. So I had family here. No, I had friends over last weekend that stayed for a while. I have a family that's been here the middle part of this week through this weekend. So definitely not this week. Maybe next weekend. I'll have to see whether I can do it next weekend. So, because I think the last time we talked about it, we kind of voted to do it on Sundays. So, and then I also need to see how many books I actually have to actually give away. So Jilly Jill says that the signatures were actually on the cover. So congratulations on that. I'm guessing that they were more modern Wonder Woman books. But yeah, that's cool. Anytime you can get a little something extra for free, you can't really beat that. So definitely congrats on that. Gorilla Grod says, I'm rolling in ASM 300s. Yeah, so I have the one back there. I had one, but I kind of sort of donated that purple label that I had, ASM 300. So I kind of donated that, I think, to a really, really good cause. And then I was able to pick up a couple more. So I'll run through this stuff so you guys can see what else is in there. So, the web here, I'll give it to you one more time because I know Tony's going to be kind of busy answering questions in the chat. So it is right there on screen. You guys should be able to see exactly what the website is. He is also on Instagram, so you guys can check him out over there as well. So hopefully that helps. All right, so let's run through the books that I picked up recently. And so what I'll say is that all of these books were, not all of them, many of them were picked up for a purpose. And the purpose for this was to potentially pick up a big grail later in the year. At least that's what I'm trying to do. And so as part of just pulling together and stockpiling money, one of the other things I've been trying to in my head think through is, could I potentially put together a cash book trade for a major key? And so that's kind of where my head is right now. So to that point, these first couple aren't, because I think I'm gonna probably hold on to these, but the later ones will be trade books. So the first one is this is Batman Adventures number 12, first appearance of Harley Quinn. This is one of those books, in my opinion, that it just is iconic. And it doesn't matter whether you're a DC guy or a Marvel guy. This is a cover that you know. And Harley Quinn is a character that you know. And so that's part of what motivated me to pick this book up for the collection. Also snagged Eternal Warrior number 4. It's the first appearance of, is it Ra? I think somebody said it's Ra. So we got this one, really cool kind of iconic cover from Valiant. Then I also picked up this one, Harbinger number 1. Really cool book here that I did not pick up back in the day. So I was very thankful to be able to get my hands on this one. And each and every one of these books is in amazing shape. Yeah, it's in a archival bag, but they're also just in really great shape. The next couple are just cool books that I snagged because they are Jim Lee books. I think this is Batman 612, Batman 611, Batman 609, all Jim Lee, and you guys know I'm a Jim Lee fan. Here is 608. So just some really cool books for the personal collection. Next up, this one is a cool one because I like a little Todd McFarlane, and this is an iconic Todd McFarlane Batman cover. This is Batman 423. Definitely a cool book. Mr. Q says he remembers watching Batman Adventures religiously after school, and he loved that show. So David, these books are 100% complete. 100% complete. These books have been locked away in a collection for a very long time, untouched. So we have Vengeance of Bane. I think this is the first appearance of Bane. I remember watching this movie back in the day and loved that Bane character. And so when I had a chance to pick this one up, I went ahead and jumped on it. Then of course we got Amazing Spider-Man 365. So this is one I did not have in my collection again. So I had an opportunity to get it and wanted to make sure that I did it. So we got that. And now this next set of books, these are a lot of the ones that I am holding for the purpose of trading. So Reggie, when you send the pic of ASM 360, I knew you were going to get yeah, man. It was one where I was like, you know what? Because Gorilla Girl, I swore that I had this book in my collection. When it popped, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago? Went over to my bins and I'm looking and I'm like, it's not there. And I'm like, well, maybe it's with this one. So I went and looked and I looked over here and it was not there. I could not find it. And so a little upset by that one. So I was able to get it and definitely pleased to have it now. And it will go in its proper spot in my various Amazing Spider-Man bins. I actually need to pick up, another short box because I've run out of space, because I actually picked up a ton of books in the 300s and 400s because I'm working on my run. And so I picked up a ton of books that I now have to take care of. So the next one, I'm not going to belabor this one. I picked up a triple set of New Mutants 87 first appearance of Cable. Really cool books. I think I have like 6 of these now. Definitely stockpiling, definitely hoarding. So if you guys throw out those various adjectives to describe my behavior, I will accept it because I am indeed doing that. Next up, we picked up 3 copies of New Mutants 98, and I already have I think I only have 2 other copies, and I'm giving 1 away. So these 2 are actually newsstand, so I'm definitely pumped about that. And then the last one is, of course, a direct edition. So Gorilla Grodd, it is good to see you, brother. Thank you for stopping by. And then the last stack of books that I picked up for trade bait is this right here. Amazing Spider-Man 300, definitely a iconic book here. And definitely pleased to have these in the collection. I have that triple signed that is back behind me. That is my only other copy outside of this one. So Comic Book Gallery says I need 6 more. No, bro, I'm done. I'm done. I think I'm done stockpiling these things. So so in addition to these that I have here, I also have like Hulk 181. I have FF 48 through 49. I've got Submariner 1. So there's these other books. I have like a partial full run of Eternals. So like I'm just trying to stockpile these books for the hope that I should be able to trade them along with some cash to be able to do some cool stuff. So Kingpin Comics, how you doing? No, Kingpin Comics, that is not from TJ Watson. TJ Watson has been blessing people all across the board, man, this week. He has been dropping some amazing AOKs, and I know each and every one of those guys is very thankful. But no, this actually did not come from TJ Watson. What I ended up doing was I ended up working out a really nice trade with someone where I was able to trade some slabs in my collection along with some cash for some really cool books. And some of the books that I gave up were books that used to be on my wall at one point or another. They were books that I picked up like back in the day and personally had slabs. And but sometimes you have to break a couple of eggs to make some magic happen. And so I'm definitely pleased with the decision that I made. And if you guys follow me on Instagram, you'll actually see some of the books that I actually turned over in order to get these books. But I'm very thankful. I have an opportunity in a lot of ways to work with some really cool people through this YouTube channel. I have a lot of opportunities to connect with people, and I'm able to do some cool stuff, and so that's another reason why when people ask me how much I paid, I'm a little hesitant to say, because the price that I might get something for might not be the price that you're able to get it for because of some of the relationships and things that I do. And so, again, I am very appreciative to every single person that I have an opportunity to interact with, to have a conversation with. And I literally do it all day. I literally talk to people all day. And sometimes I talk to one or two people all day, every day, because we have such a really good dialogue. And so I'm very thankful for this community in so many different ways, just because of the amazing opportunities that I have, and honestly, some of the friendships that I've been able to make. So with that, I am going to say thank you to you guys for hanging out with me for just a little bit. I absolutely enjoy doing these live streams. I hope that you guys enjoy participating in them. I may go live maybe one more time this weekend. We'll see whether I'm able to get away from the family for a couple of minutes to do so. And if not, I will definitely be releasing a ton of new videos next week, Monday through Thursday, always at 3:30. Also, keep in mind that if you are going to sign up for a CGC membership, there is a link in the description to this video. There is also, I think, 8% off or 8% back on eBay. So if you have the app installed, you want to activate that code and then be able to save that 8% via the app. And I think that's about it. I'm trying to remember if there's any other announcements that I wanted to make, but I think that's it. So again, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Oh, let me say, hold on. Let me make sure everything's good. Mr. Q says, great haul, Reggie, eagerly awaiting the next major announcement. Oh, so I've had a couple of preliminary conversations with CGC. It looks like we're going to be able to get them back on the channel, hopefully sometime soon. I'm waiting for them to send me an email with a couple of additional details, but I'm very hopeful that we're going to be able to get them back on. So if you guys have thoughts about what it is that we might want to talk about or questions that you have about CGC, don't hesitate to put those things in the comment section. One thing that I can tell you, after having an hour-long conference call with BCW earlier this week, they read the comments. They cited, BCW specifically cited some of the comments that you guys made on the video that I put up recently about their products. So my point is, people read these comments. So be certain, if you have thoughts, if you have suggestions, if you have ideas, put them in the comment section, because they go a long way towards helping to facilitate a dialogue in the discussion off camera that you guys don't see, but definitely goes in the direction that you think that it should. So thank you guys in advance for the thumbs up as well on the video. If you guys need me, don't hesitate to reach out. I am always around. Take care.